Nick Davis here. On today's episode, I wanted to continue on what we spoke about yesterday. So I spent the day praying. I prayed one really long time last night and then one time this morning. And right when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just reach out again and apologize for a second time. Um, the mother of my son reached out and we were able to settle everything. She got over it. My apology was accepted. And it was amazing, and I just thank Jesus Christ for supporting me in getting through that. And, what would the course say?
Yeah, that's a miracle, and it's you could see it too, the effect. It's almost as though one day it was chaos and emotions and fear and anger, and then in an instant it's gone. That's a miracle. So I actually want to read two different things today, and the first thing is about Helen and some of her original notes, and this comes from the Cameo number 6. So, if you get it's the complete and annotated version, which the Circle of Atonement put out, that has Helen's her original notes and some of the stories around how the key distinctions of the course came about. And they did a great job. Uh, Robert Perry at Circle of Atonement and these cameos, I love them. I'm really grateful for them because it gives a whole fresh perspective of Helen. In Cameo 6, it's called Letting Him Take Charge of Minutia. And Jesus had said something to Helen in which he told her that if she would let him guide her through the trivia of her life, he could save her a great deal of time, which she could then devote to its proper use, giving miracles. So in this cameo, it was actually about something very trivial, Helen shopping. And Jesus said, I already know what you like, I'll guide you. And he was basically demonstrating that even over the minutia of our life, said if we're willing, Jesus would handle all of it. So it's no coincidence you prayed, you asked Jesus for guidance, and a miracle happens. Now, he goes on to say here, I want to just read a little bit further about that. So after Jesus told Helen that, letting him take charge, she had some resistance, and she had two dreams that night, and they disturbed her a bit. And what Jesus went and he commented on those dreams. He said, "Do not get bogged down in those dreams of last night. They are reflections of old learning patterns and arose because you did not like what I said about leaving minutia to me. They merely illustrate your unwillingness to not get bogged down because you're afraid of the course. So don't use them that way. If you're tempted to do this, ask Bill to stop you." Now, Bill was Helen's close friend, also the head of the department that supported Helen in all the editing, and Jesus would give Helen messages for Bill all the time. So don't use them that way. If you're tempted to do this, ask Bill to stop you. This course is about willingness, not unwillingness. Unwillingness has to be replaced by willingness because willingness is part of readiness, without which learning cannot occur. So if you think about what you're explaining in the situation, you had the willingness. It doesn't mean that we don't make mistakes, but notice what you did. You noticed old patterns from the past, old ways of being and acting that you did, maybe where you bend the truth or things we learned on growing up on how to survive, all that we learned from our past. And you know that it was wrong-minded because of what it created, or the course would say what it made, the result that it made in your life. But you then saw the need for correction and asked Jesus for guidance, and look at the result. Now, I want to that was from that cameo. I want to go to the section that we were reading, the last video we made from a Test of Truth, chapter 14, section 11, Test of Truth, which goes further into this. And it says, atonement, or at one mint healing, the healing of our minds, the remembering of God, and ultimately our awakening. Atonement teaches you how to escape forever from everything that you have taught yourself in the past. Let me read that again. Atonement teaches you how to escape forever for everything that you've taught yourself in the past by showing you only what you are now. And it goes on and it says, nothing you have ever learned can help you understand the present or teach you how to undo the past. Your past is what you have taught yourself. And then this part's italicized. It says, let it all go. Do not attempt to understand any event or anything or anyone in its, quote, light, the light of the past. What Jesus is telling us, don't try to understand anything from our past. For the darkness in which you try to see can only obscure. And he goes on and he says, your part is very simple. You need only recognize that everything you learned, you do not want. Think about that. Our part is to recognize that everything we learned from the past, we don't want. Everything we taught ourselves about the world, about others, about ourselves, we don't want. And he says, ask to be taught and do not use your experiences to confirm what you have learned. When your peace is threatened or disturbed in any way, say to yourself, and this is what we say to ourselves, I do not know what anything, including this, means. And so I do not know how to respond to it, and I will not use my own past learning as the light to guide me now. By this refusal to attempt to teach yourself what you do not know, the guide whom God has given you will speak to you. He will take his rightful place in your awareness the instant you abandon it and offer it to him. That's actually what you're explaining that you did, believe it or not. And it seems so simple for us. I mean, so whenever conflict shows up, that's everything from our past. I say this, and someone taught me this line once. Whenever it's hysterical, it's historical. So anytime we have anything showing up in ourselves or others of, that's all from our past. It triggers their past. It's our past. So what we're saying here is that I do not know what anything, including this, means. And so I do not know how to respond to it. And I will not use my own past learning as the light to guide me now. So what does that do? It puts us in our proper place to learn. And the Holy Spirit, Jesus, will teach us. Now, some people say, is Jesus the same as the Holy Spirit? For right now, it doesn't matter. Whatever resonates. If you feel connected to Jesus, you can ask Jesus for guidance. If you feel connected to the Holy Spirit, ask the Holy Spirit. It's the higher self that Jesus awoke into. And when he woke into the Christ, which is what the Course says is God the Father, the Holy Spirit, and you, the Christ, are all one. So the Trinity is one. So what we're doing is we're taking our rightful place in the Trinity by saying, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Now, this isn't needed in heaven. This is only needed for you and I now because we forgot. And now we were taught the ego's doctrine, which always uses the past. So what he says in the Course is that guilt thoughts are the preservers of time. They preserve the past and we project them into the future, trying to plan and defend against fear, against any, being hurt again, because we have so much evidence in our past. So what we're doing is we're relinquishing all that learning and we're saying, I'm willing to learn a whole new curriculum. And as we do that, what you'll start to see is that every situation in your life like this, where there's conflict, there's fear, there's conflict with others, all it takes is asking for guidance and being willing to relinquish everything we taught ourselves. What he says in the Course is, you who have learned amiss should not be your own teacher. So we have to fire ourselves as our own teacher and actually unlearn everything we taught ourselves from the past. And the Holy Spirit is the one that does that. The Holy Spirit is the teacher. The Holy Spirit is the therapist. The Holy Spirit is the great comforter. And, what Helen learned by just asking Jesus that he'll handle all the minutiae of our life if we'll let him, if we're willing to be guided. And if you think about your own life, where are those areas that you've been trying to figure it out and you've been trying to control it? And can you just for a moment surrender all of what you see and what you think and your judgments, all of that, and just say, Holy Spirit, teach me peace, teach me love, teach me how to be the light, and watch the messages and how you're communicated to, and that all the minutiae of your life, and all of it is minutiae, all of it is handled.